spent a month relearning how to walk, and to be there was something I had only dreamed of. I wasn't focused on when am I going to next be on the trails, but just am I going to be able to make a full recovery from this? It's a 100-mile race. You run at altitude, your snow, through 100-degree canyons. The finish line becomes a lot sweeter when you know what you've endured. I have been running since I was a kid. I just fell in love with the process of pursuing these big goals, just trying to see how far I could go with it. I did my first ultramarathon 9 years ago. It's been so formative in teaching me that I can do so much more than I think I can, and that I'm capable of oftentimes more than I believe I am. I was on an easy run from home, about a half mile from getting home at the end, and took a funky step. My knee went backwards in and out of socket. I also developed some large blood clots in my leg. So the whole situation was just becoming this really scary, time-sensitive thing.
We're in the ER. I have a blood clot, and they're gonna put me on blood thinners.
It was just starting to feel like the odds were really stacked against me. I remember laying at the infield of the Placer High School track, which is where Western States finishes. And I remember just feeling like it was like home. I just remember laying there in so much pain and so uncertain of where my path was going to take me next. But I knew that I wanted to return to this and that I was willing to do whatever it took to get back there. I could do a spin bike with one leg, so I could prop my leg up on a box.
Does it feel weird doing the first circle?
It feels really good.
I went out to this fantastic rehab facility where I spent a month relearning how to walk, manual therapy, different things with physios, underwater therapy. Honestly, I was really depressed during this time. So on the surface, as much as I was trying to stay focused on what I could do each day, mentally, it was really difficult for me and I was at an all-time low. I tried to journal a lot and make notes to myself because I knew that one day this time would pass and I would want to remember what I was feeling in this moment. I wanted to make sure that this wasn't all for nothing.
Kind of taking my first walk to PT without crutches, which is exciting.
Still walking.
Active walk. Yep.
I was so happy to find that those first running steps actually felt so familiar.
She's stoked, folks.
It felt like reuniting with an old friend.
Just having one of those moments running. This is 100% worth everything. Like, this is worth making my whole life about this.
Hard for me to not dwell on what could happen. You know, even on some of these runs, I'll be loving every step and there'll still be a voice in the back of my head that's like, what if 10 steps from now there's a step that changes everything? I've had to accept a degree of risk to return to what I love. All I can do is enjoy and focus on the present. I think it would have been really easy for me to come out of my injury with limited sights and thinking, okay, you know, maybe my best days are behind me and I should kind of set smaller goals for myself. But I feel like actually my goals became bigger than ever. There's a very, very competitive lottery for entry. There's also a way that elites can enter the race, which are through what are called golden ticket races. Ran a golden ticket race in February and missed the ticket by about a minute and 50 seconds. But I got a very cool phone call in April that the girl who had accepted the golden ticket ahead of me, MK Sullivan, she was pregnant she would be deferring her entry and the golden ticket would actually be rolling down to me. I mean, it's so crazy how it worked out that I was even able to be at Western States alone, let alone to have the race there that I had.
Ice bath, okay?
The race every year seems to get even more competitive than the last, and we had most of the best 100-mile women in the world there towing the line. So by no means was I a favorite. I knew that my best shot at success was focusing on myself. So my mantra for the race was you versus you. You go through this section called the canyons where you don't see your crew for a while and it gets really hot and you do these big descents into these deep canyons and these big climbs out. And coming out of the canyons is always a really momentous moment of the race because each runner has really seen it all out there and they get to their crew at that point usually feeling pretty disheveled and pretty wrecked with many more miles to go. And I came out of the canyons honestly feeling great. It felt just like what I'd been training on at home.
Abby, you're the best because you're going to be deliberate, right? Everything deliberate. All your running, nutrition, effort, your cooling, just be deliberate.
At that point, I was now leading the race with a significant lead. And my crew was just so excited. My husband was like trying to hide his emotion because I think he knew that it would make me emotional. And I know that in that moment, we were just both celebrating, like, this is happening. The day is unfolding. Like, and I remember even reaching that point feeling like, even if things change from here, I'm so proud to be at this point in the race where I am and to be running within myself, to be running confidently, and even to be here at all. So I actually held my lead from that point until the finish of the race. Honestly, it didn't feel real to me until I entered that track. I've been at that finish line in so many different forms, and to be there as the winner of the race was something I had only dreamed of and was literally a dream come true. I hope someone who hears my story reminds themselves that it's worth it to keep going, that putting one foot in front of the other might not feel heroic at the time, but that you can look back and be proud of yourself. I feel like my injury has just made me feel more present and enjoying what I'm doing. I've had more fun than ever doing what I love because returning to it wasn't a guarantee. Only we know our full stories and what we've endured, what we've gotten through to get to where we are today. But I think that those formative moments are what make life rich and meaningful.